Welcome to Clarion Connection. I'm Ron Wilshire, and my guest today is Ric Taylor, Director of Facilities Planning and Management at Clarion University. We're going to talk a little bit about the master plan Clarion University is now working on and some other projects in works. Ric, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Now, you and Dr. Whitney have been putting on quite a show recently. I've read it in the newspapers and talked with Dr. Whitney about the master plan efforts at Clarion. In some ways, having worked here, it seems like only yesterday that there was another master plan being developed, but this is the next phase.
Right. The last master plan was completed in 1995, so we're to the point where it really does need to be updated. Conducting a master plan for a campus is a PASHE requirement, and it's the basis from which we receive any state funding for any capital projects. And from the 1995 plan, we have received well over $100 million in building projects. So it's a very important process, not only to understand where we are as a campus and where we want to go over a 5, 10, and 15-year period, and how we meet the current pedagogy and the needs of our students, but also then becomes a real financial consideration for us in terms of receiving state appropriations.
Now, one of the projects, I don't know whether it's technically part of the master plan, but one of the big projects that has a lot of people talking about are the new residence halls and other building along Main Street where Nair and Wilkinson are right now.
We're really excited about this project. We are partnering with the Clarion University Foundation in developing 2 residential buildings on either side of Main Street, currently one being where the large Carrier Hall Nair parking lot is, and then the other being across the street from it. It would have 730 beds in a suite-style arrangement. We do currently have some suites on campus. We did Campus View and Valley View a few years back, but these will also offer the opportunity of not only having shared bedrooms in a suite setting, but also single bedrooms. So we do have a few single bedrooms on campus, but this would really be the first time that we offer a larger offering of single bedrooms.
And research has shown that students want these types of housing.
We did a housing scan with a demographics company and who specializes in residential facilities, and they did a survey of incoming freshmen and current students. And for incoming freshmen, they noted that it was very important to their decision to come to Clarion in terms of the residential offerings, and it was 85% of those students said that, and 71% of our existing students said that the various housing options were important to them in their decision to come to Clarion.
I think it might also be important to note that there aren't any taxes, state grant or tax money involved with this project.
That's exactly right, because this is being done in collaboration with the Clarion University Foundation. They are technically building the facilities, and it's self-liquidating in terms of the rents that come in go to pay for the construction and operation of the buildings. So no state funding is involved with that at all.
And they have quite a track record in developing these types of projects. They have Reinhardt Villages and the 2 suites on campus you mentioned. So, and none of those were done with tax money.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And Nair and Wilkinson have really reached their useful life. They were built in 1971, and to put that in perspective, Richard Nixon was president, and the 2 leading television programs were All in the Family and The Flip Wilson Show. So clearly things have changed, and students' needs have changed. So they really just can't serve the purpose for which they were intended. And, they simply aren't part of the character of the campus or the borough, being 7-story towers. We feel that the new buildings will relate much better to the borough and will give a certain sense of arrival for anyone approaching the campus that way, because right now it's very easy for anyone passing through town to pass the campus and not even realize that they've just passed a fairly major campus that has been there since 1867.
The plans for the new buildings also include some little shops, I guess, essentially moving things that are already on campus to the first floor of these new buildings.
That's right. About 7% of the square footage of the buildings would be retail that the university currently operates, serving our students. But by being on Main Street, we hope that we can also help to serve members of the community. And none of the retail in the buildings will be private retail. We will not have leasable space that someone of a private nature could come in and rent. This is only university-affiliated retail, namely the bookstore moving there, Starbucks Cafe moving there, some form of a food outlet, and that's hasn't been defined yet in terms of exactly what that will be. We have some focus groups working on how it would best serve the students and the community in terms of what format that food outlet would take. And then another exciting part of it is in the building over by Still Hall, including a classroom during the day that would be essentially a 150-seat lecture hall, but also could serve as a theater. So there could be a return of a theater downtown after the Garvey and the Orpheum have left us. So that's exciting to us. We would look at that as an opportunity to increase student recreation opportunities, which is important to us to, give the kids something to do beyond just their classroom experience, and hopefully keep them in town for the weekends, which can only speak better or well for the businesses downtown by having more foot traffic on the weekends and whatnot.
Now, part of the vision is to extend Main Street, I guess, to the campus borders too. What is the future look like when all this is constructed for the, I believe the university has a bookstore, gift store downtown in Clarion now. Would that remain? That
was really a pilot project. And that would be moving down to the new facility, so that what is currently at Gemmel and what is currently at Eagle Landing will be co-located in the new building.
So lots of exciting things. Before we get into the master plan, I wanted to tackle a couple different issues in the community. One is the glass plant. Quite frankly, there's always rumors that the university is going to buy the old glass plant and put up a football field or more student housing. Would you like to go on record for that again?
Absolutely. Dr. Whitney has made it very clear that the university has no interest in acquiring the glass plant property. That is not on the table as long as she's president.
Okay, and the other big issue, and for a number of years, probably at least 7 or 8 years, has been the sidewalk situation for Reinhardt Villages. Reinhardt Villages opens up into Greenville Avenue, and a lot of places there just aren't even any sidewalks, so it creates a tremendous safety problem.
We're happy to report that there seems to be some significant progress on that front. For a number of years, the foundation, in partnership with the university, has attempted to receive permission to install a sidewalk between the campus and Reinhardt, and that has not been successful, and I think that's been going on for about 7 years. Recently, the foundation again hired an engineer to come up with a project that we think would work and provide a safe path between the 2 points, and the borough submitted that proposal to PennDOT. PennDOT has jurisdiction over Greenville Avenue, so we would need to receive their approval to be able to proceed. So the borough has made that application to PennDOT. There has been discussion with PennDOT since the application. They had some questions that they came back to the foundation with, and those are being answered. So we are hopeful that we will receive their approval this time, and the foundation has made the commitment that they will cover all construction costs for the walk. Another plus.
Let's look at the master plan. What you're efforts include and where you see Clarion going in another, 20, 25 years?
It has a vision out to 20 years. We have hired the firm of Perkins Eastman. They have a Pittsburgh office, but they are known nationally and internationally, and they have numerous campus master plans to their credit. We had put out an RFP for the design services to do the campus master plan, and we had 12 folks get back to us. We interviewed 6, and Perkins Eastman was selected, and it's been a great selection. It's been a really good collaboration so far, and we certainly expect that to continue. They were on campus. They've been on campus several times, but last week they were on campus for 3 days, and we had no fewer than 25 meetings with various constituencies across campus, because Dr. Whitney has made it very clear that this needs to be a very participatory process, a very open process, and Perkins Eastman also did a presentation at the town hall that we had last week. So, we passed out comment cards at the town hall. We received quite a few excellent comments. I'd like to announce that we have a email address set up, and anyone is more than welcome to send us an email. That's campusplan@clarion.edu, and we would be very happy to hear from you, because we really do want to make this a process where everyone can be heard and we can incorporate those comments.
Great. What are some of the big areas that you're looking at in the next 20 years? What do you expect to do? I know state support or state funding for buildings has decreased a little bit.
We really don't know at the moment. That's what the study will tell us. One of the things that they're doing is taking an inventory of every single square foot on campus and classifying each of those uses across campus, whether they be classrooms or recreation facilities, offices, that sort of thing. And that will determine, comparing it to national norms as well as PASHE requirements, where we may have deficiencies and where we may have surpluses, and it looks at the suitability of existing spaces, looks at co-location of departments and whether that's appropriate for their needs. So we'll be doing that, and that really will dictate whether or not any buildings would be recommended. We're thinking that probably on the shorter term, which was between now and 5 years, we probably wouldn't be looking at any significant facilities. However, we may likely look at renovations. We're particularly interested in knowing where we are with deferred maintenance, because frankly, that is an issue that we really need to pay attention to. That's something that comes out of this plan in terms of analyzing existing building systems. We also think that we will look to do some landscaping projects across campus so that there's a more uniform look, because right now we have a hodgepodge of sidewalk types and plantings and benches and so on. And one of the recommendations that's already come from the designers is that we look at making the campus more cohesive and more identifiable also.
You're listening to Clarion Connection. We're talking with Ric Taylor, Director of Facilities Planning and Management at Clarion University. Join us again after the break.
People don't realize that taxes and healthcare are connected. The Affordable Care Act means big changes this year when you file your taxes. Because, it's about a 900-page document. It's big. It's huge.
Meet H&R Block tax professional Anna Maria Costanza, who's done her homework for you.
I will give you a tax and healthcare review. When you leave, you'll know your eligibility, your potential monthly costs for health insurance, and your potential tax penalty if you opt out.
Come into H&R Block now to have your taxes done, and we'll do a free tax and healthcare review to ensure you know your options with the new healthcare law.
We're going to see this through together. You'll be in great shape.
H&R Block tax professionals are not attorneys. Tax and healthcare review constitutes tax advice only. Consult your attorney for legal advice. H&R Block is not soliciting the purchase of insurance.
This is James Porter at your local H&R Block office in Clarion, New Bethlehem, and Brookville. Come in today and we'll leave no stone unturned to find you every dime you deserve.
Stop by the Clarion Mall on Sunday, March 3rd for the 2013 Business Expo presented by C93. Do you enjoy homemade wine? Stop by Deer Creek Winery. Red Bank Chevy has great deals on Chevy vehicles you've been looking for. H&R Block will be there to answer all of your tax questions. Bernard's Freedom Rentals offers a large variety of tools to help you with your home improvement needs. Culligan is waiting to assist you with all your water issues. Having pain? Stop by Crawford Chiropractic for assistance. Time for a new mattress? Rest assured has only the best. Join us at the C93 Business Expo Sunday, March 3rd from noon to 5 and register to win great prizes at each business.
Welcome back to Clarion Connection. I'm Ron Wilshire with Ric Taylor, Director of Facilities Planning and Management at Clarion University. And we've been talking about the new master plan process that is underway at Clarion University. Rick, could we talk a little bit about, as you look to the future, how big of an impact does the enrollment have on your planning efforts?
It's a key component of the planning. There was a time in recent memory when we had 6,200 students on campus and within the borough, and we are now at 4,200, and that's just not sustainable. So we have a goal of increasing our enrollment to 5,000 people, and we are designing the master plan to that goal.
So that affects the size of the buildings and even the attractiveness, I guess, of the buildings. Isn't that somewhere in the background in the design of the new residence halls or suites on Main Street?
Absolutely. You know, we want to be a good neighbor, and what's been interesting is that the design team has already noted that so many of our campus buildings, especially the ones that were built in the late 60s and 70s, turn their back to the community. Look at Tippin, look at Marwick Boyd. They're nothing but huge stone brick walls facing Greenville Avenue. We want to change that. We want to follow the Grunewald Center model, where we have windows that face out onto the community, and people as they pass by can see the activity that we're doing on campus. In terms of the suites design, we wanted to create architecture that very much was compatible with the Central Business District. Originally, the architect had come to us, and their proposal really looked like you might see in a normal residential building, say up on top of the hill, that was just a large brick building. And we said, no, that's not what we want. We want something that will be of a scale and an appearance that really matches what we have in the Central Business District. So even though the upper floors are essentially large floors of residences, from the outside, it would appear as if they were maybe 15 buildings marching on down Main Street. So that was very intentional.
Great. Now, you mentioned the suite construction, and we talked about how there isn't any tax money involved with the construction of those. But for the academic buildings on campus, you do receive state capital funding. And while it's getting more and more limited, we do have a project underway for Tippin Natatorium renovation. Do you want to talk about that? Because I think it also involves some new ways to deal with the swimming pool.
Sure. We have been very fortunate to have been approved for a state appropriation of just over $40 million to renovate Tippin. Tippin, I believe, was built in the late 60s, early 70s, and has not seen a renovation since it was built. And as most people would know that have visited campus, it's really in pretty tough shape right now. We simply don't have the space that would serve our student athletes. So we are looking forward to and are in the early planning stages for a full renovation of the Tippin building, which will include the construction of a new competition pool or natatorium, and then where the current natatorium is will become an auxiliary gymnasium, which is very much needed because the scheduling of the existing Tippin building with only one gym is just a nightmare, and we have students coming in very early in the morning and very late in the evening simply because we can't schedule any differently because we simply don't have the facilities. So that will be a huge improvement.
And it leaks water.
It does, very much so.
So, well, is the pool going to be actually built with the current Tippin complex, or is it going to be built nearby?
We are in the process of looking at that. DGS, the Department of General Services, who is managing the project and is providing the funding, requires us to provide two design solutions. So one solution does call for the new natatorium to be connected to the existing Tippin building, and another calls for it to be connected to the student recreation complex. I think it's fair to say that we prefer the one that would connect to Tippin.
Is there an additional recreational pool being considered for the student rec center?
It is being considered. We can't say that it will definitely occur, but we are including that in the planning, and we're hopeful that we can make that happen. This would be via a separate funding source, but the architect that is doing Tippin is considering the recreation pool and where it would be located and how it might communicate to not only the recreation center, but also the pool at Tippin if that's where the natatorium ends up.
Any other plans for the renovation of Tippin? What, is it just going to be refurbishing, or is it going to look much different?
It'll look very different. That's part of the goal of the project. We really want the architecture to harmonize with the Grunewald Center, for instance. So it will have new public entrances. We want it to be a better neighbor, so to speak, to Greenville Avenue and the folks around there, in the sense that I said earlier that, you know, we'll have a lot of glazing, and we hope to make the building much more transparent than it is now. We will also be increasing spaces such as our training facility, which currently is woefully inadequate, and that's true of, you know, just about all of the uses within the department. So we are looking at a fairly substantial change in floor plan, and it'll be definitely a very different spectator experience because we would be entering the arena from the top down and creating a bowl. We'll be creating a stage so that we can have entertainment, commencement, that sort of thing. So there will be a fairly substantial change in the floor plan.
Dr. Whitney was on this program right after she started here, or soon after that, and one of the things she talked about back then was her dislike for bleachers. How's that going with maybe possibly having seats instead of bleachers?
She has made it very clear that the project will definitely have seats. And all of us on the design team like to receive a paycheck, so that will happen.
Well, so the capacity of Tippin would be the same in terms of for the...
It'll be more or less the same. We're really not at that level of detail, but we are looking to at least achieve what we have now, which is roughly 3,100 seats, I believe.
Well, that's kind of interesting. You said everyone will enter it from the top.
Right. There will be a new lobby where the existing lobby is now, and there'll be probably what would be, you know, a large glass tower at that point, so it's welcoming the community in and the patron or the spectators that are parking in the parking lot across the street. So then they'll move up a grand stair or an elevator to the what is now the second level, and that's where they'll enter the venue and then go down into the bleacher system.
Oh, that should be pretty exciting.
It really, you know, when people walk in, they will really see a marked difference, and it really will be a much better spectator experience.
When do you expect to break ground on this?
We're looking at probably 8 months from now at the very earliest. DGS has a very prescribed path that this has to take in terms of design and so on. So we're hoping to open by 2016.
2016. And back to the suites on Main Street, that's
2015.
2015.
And we're also looking at the renovation of Becht Hall by summer of 2015. So we will have nearly $125 million worth of projects happening concurrently.
Wow. Now, Tippin, as you mentioned, was part of the 60s boom when, quite frankly, so much money was coming into the campus. They were just looking for places to put the buildings in that. But it's kind of interesting that Becht Hall is undergoing renovation, because that's one of the first buildings on campus, and designed by architects that later went on to design USC buildings. What kinds of things are you doing for that? Because you have some historical implications in that building.
Right. The building will look exactly as it does now from the exterior, but we will be completely reconfiguring the interior to serve the contemporary need. It is a student success center. It is a place where our students will be able to go and transact all of their business in one place. We'll have the student infirmary there, or the health center. We will have academic support and so on. So it will be a one-stop shopping center for our students.
Great. Well, Rick, you've been here at Clarion, I don't know, roughly 2 years?
1 year.
1 year?
Yeah.
Oh, it just seemed like 2.
Time flies.
Wow, I guess. Well, are you having fun?
I love it. I love Clarion. I'm a resident of the borough, and this was an excellent career choice for me. Everyone is just wonderful to work with at the campus, and we're all pulling on the same rope to make the school a success.
Any projects that you would, secret projects that you would still like to get done at Clarion?
Well, I think that what we have on our plate is enough for now.
That's right. No sense in being greedy. So, well, thanks for joining us on Clarion Connection, Rick. I'm Ron Wilshire, and we'll be talking with you next week.